Joey Janela is under fire for claims about Sabu's final match. Plus, a huge tag team match has been added to Saturday night's main event, and we have a major update on the return of a WWE PLE. It's all in the Cultaholic Wrestling news right now. We started this week with the tragic news of the very sudden passing of ECW legend Sabu. His final match took place just a few weeks ago at Joey Janela's spring break night. It was Joey Janela and Sabu in a no-rope barbed wire match. Heck of a match. A real brutal match as well that saw Sabu in particular take some pretty gnarly bumps throughout it. Now, Uncrowned on Yahoo Sports published an article that details the life of Sabu, but also details about his final match, with quotes offered in the article from GCW owner Brett Lauderdale and Sabu's final opponent, Joey Janela.
Lauderdale knew that Sabu wasn't in the best physical condition going into the match and said, "I talked to Sabu a couple of days before the match and he was telling me my knee hurts and this and that, and I said, listen Sabu, everyone knows you're hurting, you're 20-something years older than the last time you did this, people's expectations are realistic, no one is expecting this to be born to be wild," his iconic no-rope barbed wire match with Terry Funk, of course, and he said to me, good, because it's going to be better than that.
He was straight in there. Now, in comments made by, it's the comments that were made by Joey Janela that have caused quite a stir in the wake of the passing of Sabu. Janela describes the state that Sabu was in before the match and how Sabu got through the match. He said, "I was fairly confident he was fine. I was kept in contact with him and he has a team of people around him. They were all saying that he was ready to go, that he was going to the gym, that he was on a training program. I believed them until the day of the show. Then 2 hours before, I get a call. Sabu can't walk and his feet are bleeding. He's not coming. Sabu's not coming. I said, Sabu's effed." So we talked to Matt Tremont, and Tremont is about to be the replacement for the match. I feel like this is going to be the most embarrassing moment of my wrestling career. We are an hour into the show and I said, just get Sabu here. So they gave him something called Kratom. It's a legal opiate. They said he's hopping on the bed, he's hopping off the bed, and we're going to get him to the show. So he shows up 2 hours into the show. Sabu was on a different effing planet. Everyone in the backstage was like, what the F? Is this match going to happen? And my God, did it happen? End quote.
Yeah, the article caused a lot of controversy, in particular Sabu taking Kratom to get through his pain. Now, we have a little bit from the DEA, don't we, Tom?
Yeah, so the DEA describing Kratom. At low doses, Kratom produces stimulant effects, with people reporting increased alertness, physical energy, and talkativeness. At high doses, people experience sedative effects. Kratom consumption can lead to addiction, say the DEA. It's not controlled under the Controlled Substance Act. However, there may be some state regulations or prohibitions against the possession or use of Kratom. FDA has not approved Kratom for any medical use. In addition, DEA has listed Kratom as a drug and chemical of concern. So in case you weren't sure what Kratom was, it might be something you're hearing a lot today when you're reading articles, watching videos, listening to podcasts. That's kind of what it is. Since this article came out and since the backlash online, there's been two statements. The first was from Brett Lauderdale, the owner of GCW.
Yeah, he says, in the months leading up to the match, I told him repeatedly how much I believed in him and how excited I was for him to finally get his flowers and be celebrated the way he has earned and deserved. He was both nervous and excited, but determined to give the fans one last extreme performance to remember. Any suggestion that I or GCW or Joey Janela forced him to do this match, supplied him with substances, or somehow caused his death is irresponsible, disingenuous, hurtful, and false. It's upsetting and discouraging to see people so eager to cast judgment without knowing the facts. I would never knowingly put someone who I believed in was a danger to themselves or others in the ring, and my track record shows this to be true. I have pulled people in public and in a public and painful manner from big matches before, sometimes literal moments before a match was about to begin, and I would do it again if I had to.
He goes on to say, I spoke to Sabu moments before the match and he was Sabu. He was the same Sabu I had encountered in years past when I participated in matches as a referee and later as a promoter. He was the same Sabu I met with the following day at WrestleCon, the same Sabu that made multiple appearances on podcasts and at conventions in the weeks that followed. The truth is, Sabu lived a hard life, both in and outside the ring. He was fearless and reckless, qualities that both endeared him to millions and made us worry about him at the same time. Decades of extreme took its toll, and no matter what we want to believe, nobody is immortal. While Sabu will live forever, Terry Brunk will not, and unfortunately his time has finally come. It's sad, and my heart goes out to his friends and family, and I join them in mourning his loss. I feel lucky and blessed to have known him, and I am proud to have been able to host his final match. Sabu was a legend, and his impact in our world was immeasurable. He will never be forgotten. Joey Janela, who was obviously at the center of this, commented on the criticism on Twitter as well.
Yeah, Janela says, we didn't give him kratom, his team did. It's also not illegal, and 85% of professional wrestlers do it, especially the ones on TV. Sabu was a grown man. He did what he had to do to get out there. That night wasn't about me, it was about Sabu, and I wouldn't change a thing. I'm truly devastated over this, and this whole deal has really affected me. Kratom is something Sabu took daily for years. It helped him get off other substances. Sabu loved his weed, and kratom in his body was wrecked doing what he loved for 40 years. I love Sabu. He was legitimately my idol growing up, and my friend, I just wanted to give him and the fans one last great Sabu spectacle. I don't know what the cause of death is, and all I can say is I wouldn't change a thing, and I'm happy he went out on top.
You can see those quotes online and get more details when we know more about this story at cultaholic.com.
One thing to be said, I saw a clip on Twitter for a podcast appearance Sabu did apparently again, it was on Twitter, so take it with a pinch of salt, said it was 5 days before his passing, and he seemed like Sabu. Like latter-day Sabu, he seemed like all okay, like no relativity.
Yeah, that's the general consensus, is that everybody that saw him in the weeks that followed that match was like, yeah, he's fine. Yeah, he's fine. But like you said, and as Brett said, like he's a guy that lived a really hard life, and the timing is it's weird because there's a serendipity with the timing as well, because obviously one comment that Sabu had made following that match, he said that my only regret was that I didn't die in the match itself. So it was kind of a way that Sabu kind of went out the way that Sabu wanted to go out. But this story continues on, and as I say, we'll let you know when we know more. We're just a couple of weeks away from Saturday night's main event. We don't know it yet because they've not officially announced it, but I reckon John Cena and R-Truth are going to be headlined in that one.
Yes, you put him through a table at the press conference, Tom.
That does not go quietly into the night. But a big tag team, an all-star tag team match is set to be part of that show as well.
Yeah, CM Punk and Sami Zayn look like they're going to team up to take on Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. There's a big to-do last night. CM Punk is essentially calling out Paul Heyman, chastising Paul Heyman for turning on him a second time, chastising himself with CM Punk for letting it happen for a second time. Of course, the first time he put 13 stitches, I think he said, into the top of his head, and this time obviously it happened at WrestleMania, and now they're going to have a match.
Yeah, there's references to Punk and Zayn's sort of uneasy alliance from Survivor Series War Games, going up against Paul Heyman's own dangerous alliance, as I like calling them. That'll be taking place at Saturday night's main event. Also confirmed, Jey Uso is going to once again defend the World Heavyweight title against Logan Paul. In an interesting little caveat, waiting for them in the wake of Saturday night's main event is going to be Gunter. He's going to challenge for the World Heavyweight title on Monday Night Raw on June the 9th.
It's interesting.
Yeah, that is a really interesting little twist there, because that makes me think one of two things. Either that Jey Uso is going to get past Logan Paul and his title reign's going to come to an end, it's going to go back to Gunter, and we're going to carry on with Gunter as a dominant world champion. Or do they give Logan Paul like a 2-week world title reign?
I would sincerely hope not. Obviously,
logical heads say no.
Yeah, but business is expecting his outreach, and him with the belt will do gangbusters on social media and all that bollocks wrestling fans don't actually care about. But yeah, it's an interest that little match that added on to it makes it a lot more up in the end than it was for me.
Yeah, they've really added some intrigue into a rematch from Backlash for that one. That's Saturday night's main event in a couple of weeks' time. Going beyond that, June 28th, WWE will be back in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. They're going to be hosting Night of Champions. Also, SmackDown the night before will take place from the Kingdom Arena in Riyadh as well. It was last year where they had the Raw after Crown Jewel take place in Saudi Arabia.
I believe it was, Tom. But this was an advert during Backlash at the weekend, and guess who features the last wrestler you see? Was CM Punk, which is obviously an interesting one because of certain comments CM Punk's made in the past. So normally he gets injured in and around Saudi Arabia season, so we'll have to see if he gets injured this year.
It's the fact that they use a clip of him winking. Like, they know. They know.
Imagine if he's there.
I'm sure social media will be shy and retiring about it. Should he turn up there. Now, when it comes to other shows coming up, there's been lots of talk and scuttlebutt about this particular PLE making a comeback. There's some pretty hard and fast evidence to suggest that it is now.
Yeah, looks like, I caught a PW Insider reports that Evolution, the all-ladies pay-per-view, will return on the weekend of July the 12th, the same weekend as Saturday night's main event in Atlanta. This is indeed, of course, the same weekend as AEW All In a large stadium in Texas.
Yeah, so WWE looks to be building a big weekend of wrestling around the same time. Now, it's not been confirmed by WWE. Fightful reports that they've spoken to several talents within WWE, and while some legends of WWE have heard and had discussions about it, no talent on the main roster have heard anything official yet, other than the speculation online. However, the big giveaway for this hasn't come from a newsbreaker like your Sean Fightful from RossSap.com, not Kate from Fightful, gonna get you next time you're in Wembley. I'm watching you. We still owe a fight. It's not come from Ariel Helwani. It's not come from Dave Meltzer. Not come from Brian Alvarez. It's not come from WrestleVotes, the mysterious person hiding behind the papers. I think it's my dad. No, it has come from Fanatics, who have released a job opening that comes from Zip Recruiter, in which they are looking for a retail event associate for an event taking place in Atlanta that month called Evolution.
Could be anything.
Could be anything.
David Attenborough on tour. Could be anything.
I'd love that. If it was, I'm not wrestling anybody. God bless him. Yeah, so they're hiring people to run the merch stand at Evolution, which would suggest to me that Evolution's taking place in Atlanta.
Yes, this is competition, everybody. This is the business of competition. AEW have an event. WWE go, let's have several the same weekend. The bastards.
That's how we roll, baby. For the very latest wrestling news at any time, you can check out Cultaholic.com. Stay safe and love.
Hold and give it 4 p.m., please and thank you.
It'll be on the YouTube thing, aye.